We spent the past couple of years in a crazy hot market. Louisville home sales decline as demand outpaces supply. Effective communication is at the core of any situation. If you master these two ideas, you'll have a chance of being successful at residential real estate marketing. I think you need to be looking for investment opportunities that move the needle. The market will never crash if demand exceeds supply. This is what I've been telling you all along.
This is the Jay Pitts Show. And we're back, folks. Welcome back to the Jay Pitts Show. I'm your host, Jay Pitts.
Jay, this is the first time I've seen you in 166 hours and 22 minutes.
Yeah. So, in case you're wondering, a little behind the scenes, a little BTS situation. We did a day in the life here recently. If you're keeping up with us on socials, you got to see a little bit of the Jay Pitts Show on Day in the Life. So, we're going to give you a little behind the scenes. So, we do 4 segments here on the show, and each of them are on or about 11 minutes. 44 minutes, about 16 minutes of ads. We make up an hour. So Ryan and I on our iPhones, because we don't do green bubbles here, on our iPhones, it's becoming a trend. We set a timer on just the Apple timer, stopwatch thing. And we just realized as we were about to start this episode that I never stopped the timer the last time we recorded a show, and it has been 166 hours, 22 minutes, and 54 seconds as of this moment.
Yeah.
So it's been a while.
It's been a little bit.
So how have you slept any of those 166 hours?
Yeah, I've probably slept, 20 of them.
That's it.
Maybe a little more.
It's been 7 days.
Yeah.
I mean, little more than 20
let's
hours.
Go 25.
25 hours in 7 days.
But I feel fine.
Lots of you're drinking a Celsius here, so we've got a little bit of caffeine happening.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
No, they do not sponsor the show.
No, if they want to.
Maybe they could.
Or Alani Nu, Prime, local Louisville company.
Alani Nu absolutely has a connection to Louisville. She doesn't live here anymore. The founder doesn't, but neither here nor there.
Well, that's
still
a
has
long
a gym.
Story we could go over one day.
Still has a gym across the river, but neither here nor there. No unpaid plugs. How about that?
Yeah, none. What were you were telling me something about before the show? I already forgot what it was.
I don't remember.
I told you to stop telling me, and you stopped all of a sudden.
We'll have to come back to it.
Okay.
I've lost it already. Hannah, do you remember? No? Jim? All right, well.
Nobody in here remembers, so it's very interesting.
It was very interesting, and this is what happens when this is what I like to call the baby brain.
What's next Saturday? That's what we were talking about. You read something and it said, what defines next Saturday?
Oh, what defines next? Yeah, I saw a viral video. What defines, when you say next Saturday, what does that mean? If you say next Saturday on a Tuesday, is it the very next Saturday?
So for me, it means, no, it's the following week Saturday. And if you think it's different, you're wrong.
So this coming Saturday.
No, if it's Thursday right now and I say next Saturday, it's not the one in a few days. It's the one the next week.
Right. But I think it matters. And this is the exact bit that was going on in this video. It's two guys. I can plug that in.
You could say it is technically the next Saturday, but people say this Saturday.
Hold on. It's a funny TikTok follow. It's the FRDI show. It's a podcast. Just two random dudes, right? And they're pretty funny. One of them name's Nick. He records some music. He's a pretty talented guy. But I don't know the other guy. They're having this argument. It's just two bros arguing most of the time about really inane kind of stuff, but it's funny. And so one of the guys asked the other, what is next Saturday? And he said, doesn't it matter when you ask? Because if you ask somebody on a Sunday about next Saturday, like, isn't it the very next Saturday that you come to? But if you ask on a Friday, saying next Saturday, it's obviously 8 days later, not 1 day later.
I still think it's the following week Saturday.
See, this Saturday I would give you. This coming Saturday I would give you anytime you say it.
I've always had the debate that, Sunday's technically the start of a new week, but I think Monday feels like a new week to everybody.
I think if you have to say technically, then your point's not very strong. That's what I think.
Okay, that's fair.
So,
what do you think of as the beginning of the week?
The beginning of the week is for all intents and purposes is Monday. I would call it Monday. I don't think that has anything to do with this conversation about next Saturday, though. I think you can draw the line maybe on Wednesday. If you say next Saturday on a Wednesday, that's no
way.
That's like 11 days away.
No way.
If you say it on a Tuesday, it's 5 days away.
Got it. All right. Well,
Wednesday, Thursday,
agree to
Friday,
disagree.
Saturday.
Maybe we'll
4
post
days.
this on socials and let everybody.
We need to ask. We need to
Yeah.
ask. All right. So what you got for us today, Ryan?
Let's go over Louisville housing market update. I feel like we haven't done that in a minute.
Haven't done it in a bit.
I think a ton's probably changed.
I'm going to give you a guess on the Louisville housing market update. Why don't you give me a guess before we get into it?
Very low supply. Demand's probably around where it was, maybe a little lower because of rates, but because supply is still so low, we have a supply crisis right now.
We're still it's more of the same. Slight downturn in demand. Rates are approaching 8%. The question now is, will they hit it? But yeah, we have a 1-for-1 deficit versus last year. The same number of listings that we are behind for last year, we are behind the exact number of sales. I shouldn't say exact. It's not like to the single sale, but it's virtually no difference. If we are behind, 10 listings, we are behind 10 sales. If we are behind, 386 listings, we are behind 380 sales. Like, it is virtually no difference, like from a percentage basis. It is all the same as it has been, right, for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Really. With an active market, okay, earlier this year, probably outperforming up through June, probably outperforming expectations since probably February. We had February to June, we had a really good run. The downturn we've seen they've been parallel. The downturn in closed sales has been paralleled by the downturn in new listings. So listings are not sitting substantially longer than they were, maybe a few days longer on average. Prices in relation to list price are not down. Certainly price reductions are up. But, houses that are good sell. They sell under multiple offer. They sell over list price. The best agents are still selling a lot of houses. They're gaining in share of market, not dropping in share of market, which would suggest that other agents that are not so adept are navigating this market much worse. They're getting out of the market. They're getting out of the market altogether, or they're just making peace. They've gotten a job. They've making peace with the fact that they're not making sales. So, prices are still on the incline, and it's same old.
Yeah, Jay, let me ask you this. You said we're 1-for-1. We're behind 100 listings. We're behind 100 sales. Let's say those listings, we weren't behind 100 and we were equal with last year. Do you think the sales would still match that 1-to-1?
No, I don't think that. I don't think demand is as strong as it was last year, and that's behind rates, right? So we're kind of in an artificially constrained market here, right? The fact that inventory is down is holding prices up. And it's just basic economics at play is really what it boils down to. One thing that has changed is we have finally gone into a closed sale deficit versus 2019, which is something that I've been saying that we should compare the 23 market to the 19 market because they're the most similar markets in recent memory. We are in a slight deficit, a few sales below 2019 at this point. But we are substantially behind in listings come to market, right? So that's the thing. I mean, the sales difference is almost insignificant when you consider how much further behind in listings we are than that year.
Yeah. Do you think the consumers in the market's heard enough now that rates are the whole story and it's a supply demand issue, and that if they start seeing rates come down, that they're basically, how much would rates have to come down before you see a significant flood of supply to the market? Because people want to get their home on first before everybody puts their home on the market. People wanting to move with rates.
I mean, I think that the answer to that question lies in the definition of significant.
Yeah.
Right. That's the answer. So significant to right now, it doesn't take very much. Significant to the overall global problem, I don't know that it's possible.
Yeah.
right? I think there has to be an artificial stimulus to supply to rectify. Like, okay, so for example, we've heard as much as 70% of homeowners are fixed on long-term, whether it be 15 or 30-year mortgage rates at less than 4%.
Yeah. I have something good on that later.
As much as 70%. It's crazy. I don't want to go too deep because I'm sure you've got more detailed statistics, but what type of incentive would it take for some of that, for a large swath of that 70% to come to market? Like we're really at a deficit here. Some of that 70% are people are baby boomers that are probably never going to move again, and the only reason they even have a mortgage is because it's at 3.2%.
Yeah, I think it would be those people that have wanted to move for a little bit to, maybe upscale to a new home, but they just know it's not a smart decision right now, and if rates start moving, they might get a little FOMO and start pushing the market.
But what with just low sixes, we saw a substantial boon to demand between February and June. So it doesn't, in recent memory tells us it shouldn't take much.
Yeah. All right. We're going to cut to a couple sponsors. We'll be back on the Jay Pitts Show. This is Talk Radio 1080, real news, real talk. We'll see you in a sec. Welcome back to the Jay Pitts Show. I'm your co-host, Ryan Harris. This is Talk Radio 1080, real news, real talk. Jay, we just got done talking about the Louisville housing market update, and I think this is a perfect lead into our consumer real estate question of the week, where people write in and ask us these questions. This one was very timely. What's an assumable mortgage? And it's timely because in the brokerage this past week, we had an agent post a listing they have that has an assumable mortgage, and it was probably the most shared listing in the brokerage of all time. I went across every agent in our markets, Facebook, Instagram story, and it was there, and there were comments of everybody interested in it and asking what an assumable mortgage was. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And for perspective, it's a great listing. It's a great listing. It is pretty good price, and it looks awesome on paper, but just for whatever reason hadn't sold in a few weeks. And it's got an assumable 2.75% 30-year fixed rate mortgage, right? So obviously that's substantially less than the 7.5% or whatever that a new borrower could get right now. So if you can take over that mortgage, that's pretty substantial. So what's an assumable mortgage? An assumable mortgage is, frankly, most mortgages. Most mortgages are able to be assumed. There's some complications we're not going to get into if it's a government, FHA, VA, KHC, that kind of thing. Some are disqualified, some are not eligible. We're going to just stick with strictly very simple, conventional mortgages, right? So assumable basically just means just that. You can assume it. You can take over that mortgage and make the payments that homeowner is making on the property. Now, their loan that they have against the property, the principal balance, and the price that they're asking for the property are two different things. So the difference has to be made up in cash. Okay, so for example, like in this case, let's say that it was a $500,000 listing. I think it was somewhere in that neighborhood. And let's say they had a $250,000 assumable mortgage. Okay, that essentially means that the borrower that would assume that mortgage would have to bring $250,000 in cash to be able to assume that mortgage, right? And there are other qualifications that must be met. There is some credit qualifications, some other things, but essentially the lender is allowing, and we can even talk about what might be the incentive for that lender to do that. The lender is allowing that mortgage to continue on the path that it's currently, going on. And even though a change of ownership has occurred. Now, why would that be an incentive? Well, let's say this. Most mortgages get paid off early. Most mortgages are front-loaded with interest. So when they get paid off early, not very much opportunity for interest accrual has happened. The bank may, want to keep that. they may want to keep it. They may have, secondary market investors with buybacks or consequences to early payoff. That there may be costs on the back end that the borrower never sees. There's not a prepayment penalty, which is kind of another bugaboo, right? That you hear that people never want a loan with a prepayment penalty. That was a big issue in preceding the foreclosure crisis because banks were selling, mortgage companies and banks were selling 3-year prepayment penalties on 2-year adjustable rate mortgages, meaning that the borrower had to endure full year of payment adjustments, and those rates could go up to 3-4% in 1 year, and payments were skyrocketing. So that's not a very popular thing anymore for good reason. But assumable mortgage is just something where the borrower, if credit qualified and they have the cash to make up the difference, can take over a seller's mortgage, and it makes a property more desirable in a time like this where rates have inclined substantially.
Yeah, no, it was. I think that it's good for everybody to hear. It's something. It's an option out there for you. Talk to your real estate agent about it. Yeah. If you don't have one,
and you're going to see it a lot more advertised a lot more as the longer the rates stay high.
Especially after how well that one did, and probably got leads for some people out there.
For sure.
But ask your real estate agent about it or your lender if you don't have anybody yet,
or call and ask us, and we're happy to talk to you about it.
Okay, so I had another consumer real estate question. I'm going to save it for now. I want to move on to this article I saw going around this week. I saw a lot of other podcasts talking about it, and I want to, before you can pull the link up, don't scroll.
Okay.
What it is, it's the 6 businesses with the lowest failure rate. I want to see if you can guess what any of those are right now.
Okay, so I have some sideline questions. Number one, is it like individual industry? Like, what am I guessing? Like, am I guessing franchising or am I guessing like Wendy's? Like, how specific do I need to get?
Franchising.
Okay, yeah. So that's one. I'm going to say franchising. I'm going to say liquor stores.
Okay.
I'm going to say...
And I don't remember all of these. I only remember a couple. I think those are 2 good guesses.
Okay. I'm going to say... it's definitely not restaurants.
No.
Other than potentially franchise restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
But franchising, liquor stores, let's go.
Give us one more.
Definitely not real estate brokerages. Definitely not mortgage companies. I'm going to say trades. Like, do I need to get more specific? Like, I'm going to go.
Yes.
I'm going to go trades like electricians, plumbers, HVAC.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go through this list. We'll just talk about them one by one.
Can I scroll yet?
Number 1, laundromats.
Laundromats is a good guess. I almost said that because they. Oh well. Okay. Go on. Keep going.
Self-storage facilities.
That was another one I almost said.
Those are popping up everywhere.
They are.
And really nice ones, too. There's one on there. Go ahead. You saw one. You shook your head.
Rental property. I mean, I get it. It's just not thought. It is absolutely a business, but it's not thought. That's not what I think of when you, like, yes, I own rental property. I obviously agree. But, I don't know. I think it's a little bait and switch.
Transportation.
It's got a picture of a DHL truck, so like, I don't really understand that.
It says we all know how much we've depended on transportations in the last few years during the pandemic. I was practically married to my laptop and Amazon. I didn't really think about my shopping addiction was keeping transportation and logistic companies, UPS, FedEx. I mean, UPS, FedEx, and Amazon are sustainable businesses.
Like, I mean, this is
a bad
another
one.
This is another bad one because like, I can't start a UPS. And the UPS stores, I would also agree, like those, but those are franchises.
Yeah. I don't know how much this article actually, how much validity is to it. Vending machines, I can see that. But the last one, senior care centers. So I saw that, but I also just read an article where like we've lost 600 senior care centers in the country in the last like 6 months.
This is low hanging fruit because of the age of the baby boomers and size of that generation.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, yeah, they're staying healthy longer, but the boomers are really getting up in years. And there's going to be a time where there's going to be a lot of demand, and there is already a substantial amount of demand. But you're right. I think they're poorly run in a lot of cases, and we've lost a lot of them. One thing I will say, I think there's some like what do you call it? Like they're being assumed, they're being taken over. There's being like big. I don't know how they're counting
acquisitions.
I think there's some mergers and acquisitions occurring, which may lead to some of those number decreases.
Yeah. Just found it interesting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can't believe franchising's not on here. Laundromat. Okay, I'm going to buy laundromats. I'm going to buy self-storage. I'll buy rental property, but I think it's weak for the list. Transportation's weak.
Do you own any self-storage yet?
I don't. My family, we did own some for a while. Dad sold it, but yeah, it was self-storage is great, especially with technology. You can operate these businesses from afar with one local person. Like you need like a local maintenance trash type person that you would put like on salary or retainer. But the technology is incredible. Like this was probably in the like between. I was going to say like 2007 or 8 that we got into this, and there's like literally video kiosks where credit cards would send text messages to your phone, let you know when people. Sign up when they would sign all their documents.
What was the kiosk called? Do you remember?
I don't remember the actual. I'm sure there are ones that are
portal or something.
Sure, there
like
are ones that are light years better now, but like that was to me for 2007, 8, 9 was like really forward. Like you could literally watch live streamed a video of a person at your kiosk, like punching in their information, signing their documents electronically, entering a credit card number, like getting their access. Like everything was good.
Guarantee that company's sold for a gajillion dollars.
Yeah, of course.
Whenever you get into something like that
early and it works,
even if it looks awful,
but it
just ancient,
just works.
Yep.
Like because they build off of it, right? We know that that all too well. All right, great stuff.
Yeah, I have. I'm about to be learning a lot about self-storage and RV parks here pretty soon. So down in E-Town, my dad and one of his partners putting in an RV park in a storage facility. RV park's going to have 192 RV spots and 650 plus storage units, not all indoors, summer boat RV storage. And I'm kind of helping right now with the software and finding software for that. And I am blown away at how good RV park management software is.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I found one called CampSpot, and it is awesome.
Yeah. Kind
of going through that process. So I'm going to be learning a lot about it here soon.
Let's add another corollary. Contractor garages, same concept, like single truck garages for plumbers, electricians, people like that run one truck trade operations.
Yeah.
Big thing for real estate.
Yeah, that'd be great. We'll cut back to this in a sec. We're going to cut to a couple ad sponsors. This is the Jay Pitts Show on Talk Radio 1080. We'll be back.
And we're back, folks. Welcome back to the Jay Pitts Show. Here for segment 3. Since we let you behind the curtain, figured we might as well just call it out. Ryan and I were talking about businesses that were most likely to fail or succeed before the break, and I think we're going to keep on that topic. Ryan, what you got for us next?
Yeah, so one of your guesses on that list was franchises, and it didn't make the list. It probably should have. But, yeah, I have some statistics here on what it costs to open Taco Bell versus McDonald's versus Chick-fil-A. So I'm not sure if you looked at it yet. Out of those 3, which one do you think would be the most expensive franchise fee tag?
I would guess McDonald's, simply because the pedigree. I mean, McDonald's, though it doesn't have the probably cachet of owning a Chick-fil-A franchise, we hear about their service, their lines. Oddly enough, Chick-fil-A is the bane of existence to many commercial real estate owners.
Yeah.
Like they are like, not because they're rude or anything, but they're awful neighbors. And it's just the amount of traffic. Mm-hmm. Like shopping centers, like some retailers will not locate in a shopping center where a Chick-fil-A exists.
And that's where Chick-fil-A basically for a while would only open Chick-fil-A's is if it was in front of a mall or a strip mall or a retail location.
But it's become such a destination. The one on Blankenbaker here now, it essentially is about 5 acres of land, right? I mean, so you're seeing that more and more as a destination. But needless to say, I think that would lead people to say Chick-fil-A. But I think McDonald's has made many millionaires in this country, if not.
Yes. So the franchise fee for McDonald's is $45,000. So that's tied with Taco Bell, $45,000. Now there's other startup costs involved, but that's just for the franchise tag. Chick-fil-A's is only $10,000. Now, what I want to point out here is Taco Bell, if you want a franchise fee, you have to have a minimum net worth requirement of $1.5 million already. So you can't just go ahead and decide you want to open up a Taco Bell. They're going to vet you and make sure you have a net worth of $1.5 million. You have to have a minimum liquid asset requirement of $750,000. Which,
Real quick, the 1.5 is a joke.
Yeah.
Okay, that is way too low. Okay, that is PR for the fact that this gets published in, Franchise Magazine or Forbes or wherever they do these articles. The 750, very few people you meet with a $1.5 million net worth have 750 liquid. 50% liquidity is something. 750 liquid is more like 7.5 net worth. 10% liquidity is more along the lines of what you would expect of somebody that with that level of success.
Yeah. So we go down to McDonald's. They just have a minimum liquid asset requirement of $500,000. And then Chick-fil-A, there's no minimum liquid asset requirement and no minimum net worth requirement.
Sure.
But they said, however, it's important to note that Chick-fil-A prohibits most of its franchisees from opening multiple units, which can limit potential profits. And franchisees must devote their full time and attention to operating the business, which most people that are doing franchisees don't want to do or even work at the franchise they opened.
So this is also true. I want to say, and this is hearsay, I don't know this for a fact.
I think I know where you're going.
Okay, I think one of the Louisville operators was the first one in the network to receive a second store.
Okay.
Is what I've heard.
It's not where I thought. So I've heard you have to work at Chick-fil-A for a certain amount of time before you can open a franchise.
I wouldn't be surprised about that. I have heard about operators having to go and spend time working in another store before they're allowed to open a franchise. Now, that may not be true either. But even if it means traveling and living away from your family, literally working in management as a manager at another store. But most, I think, to say that most of its franchisees are prohibited from opening multiple locations, I think probably doesn't do it justice. There may only be a handful, or it may be very recent that they even started allowing this. But Louisville has some of the highest grossing Chick-fil-A stores in the nation. And so that's kind of, I remember when the one on Shelbyville Road opened, because a lot of people don't remember this either, but Chick-fil-A was a mall food court franchise for a long time. The first Chick-fil-A I ever ate at was at a food court at WKU University, Western Kentucky University, 20 years ago.
That's funny you can remember that.
I can remember it because it was oh, that's weird. They only have chicken. No store had that. And it wasn't like that. Everything was burger chains like McDonald's at the time. And I thought it was interesting, and I thought it was okay. It didn't wow me at first, so maybe they've improved quality. I don't know. But then there was a store. The gentleman that opened the one on Shelbyville Road had a store in Mall St. Matthews first. And so hence the first location in Louisville, standalone, was across the street from Mall St. Matthews. But they own multiple stores now.
Yeah.
And it is nothing, from what I understand and what I've learned about the franchise, it's nothing to literally be served your food by the owner of the restaurant. So anyway, eye-popping to me though, before we move on, 8.1 million annual sales. 8.1 million.
I saw one in Louisville did 15 million.
Well, and what's your cost of goods? I mean, 40%.
Yeah,
maybe.
But I'd have to look this up too. I feel like they have to share a decent amount back with Chick-fil-A, so you don't make as much as they think you would.
Probably true.
Yeah, it's 50% fee of net profits.
Yeah. There you go. So you make 15. You give them.
Yeah.
You have 15 in sales, 7.5 in expense. You made $3 million.
Yeah. So
but that's not a bad living.
No. So a couple things. I saw somebody said something about McDonald's. It's McDonald's, it used to be, I'm going to McDonald's because I don't want to spend a lot of money or I don't have a lot of money. Now it's, I'm going to McDonald's because I have a lot of money.
That's why you buy a McDonald's franchise?
Well, no. But like
McDonald's
is
expensive.
expensive now.
It's
so
very
like,
expensive.
You have to have some kind of side cash if you're going to McDonald's
Dude,
to eat.
it's kind of
You
crazy.
get a quarter pounder meal and it's $12.
You know, it's apropos that we're talking about franchising in this city, though. We're home of, the nation's largest Wendy's franchisee and Junior Bridgman. You've got formerly Tricon, now Yum Brands, which is the, home of fast food for, they own multiple brands. Papa John's, you could call that fast food. Those are franchise restaurants, right?
Taco Bell.
Taco Bell's one of them. It's Taco Bell. A&W, I don't think is a thing anymore, but Long John's and KFC are all owned by Yum Brands.
A&W is a thing.
Is
just
it still
not
a thing?
here.
Okay.
It's huge in Texas.
Gotcha. That's why it's okay. So it used to be Tricon. They acquired one of those other 4 brands, and then that's when they rebranded to Yum. So anyway, neither here nor there.
If you could own one fast food franchise, what would it be?
I mean, it'd have to be a Chick-fil-A, right? I mean, those just sales numbers alone.
But you got to work there.
Yeah, no.
Full time.
This is also true.
I'm going McDonald's.
McDonald's is like systematic. Have you ever watched the movie?
Even if it's the crappiest McDonald's ever, there's people that are going to go every morning, lunch, and dinner.
Have you ever watched the Ray Kroc, the founder on Netflix?
Yes.
I don't know how much of that is true and how much of it is fiction, but like he operationalized restaurants.
Yeah, it's very good.
Pretty incredible. So
yeah,
maybe McDonald's. Because I would try and own 100 of them.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, and I guess while we're on it, so Texas Roadhouse headquarters here.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how few of those are franchised out. Most are privately owned by Texas Roadhouse.
Absolutely.
And it was in the beginning when they first started, a very, very, very few of them are franchise restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
Never would have guessed.
Yeah, no, corporate owned, big time. Very few franchises. But, hey.
So do you remember in E-Town when like Texas Roadhouse was the thing there?
Oh, it was a thing.
It's like the only...
It was like a nice dinner.
Yeah.
You're going to go to get a steak, man.
Not so much anymore, but it's still packed every night.
It is.
And I still love Texas Roadhouse.
Nah, I got a little soft spot. Not the same experience as it used to be, though.
Yeah, a fully loaded sweet potato, just 3,000 calories.
They had the like Outback had the like fries.
Yeah.
And like they Texas Roadhouse did the same thing. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go back to one of the consumer real estate questions before we go to the last segment.
Okay.
Title insurance. This person's asking, should I get it? I have a title company recommending it. The internet's telling me don't get it. Where do you stand on title insurance?
I'm not a huge fan. If you need it, you are really upset that you don't have it. But it's like this is going to be a bad reference, but I kind of liken it to getting insurance at blackjack. They call that a sucker bet, right? So if the title company has done a 50-year title search like they're supposed to, and you don't, number one, anything should have been uncovered, potentially. There are potentials for mistakes. But, it's just highly unlikely that something's going to come up. If you end up needing it, you're going to be upset that you don't have it because it's a savior in those situations. But I'm just not a fan. I don't usually buy it unless I am aware of a really substantial title defect that has been overcome, and I'm worried about like the methods in which they overcame the title issue. I just think it gets sold a lot because it's a fairly inexpensive one-time fee that protects you from catastrophe. And it's just not the thing. Here's another thing. Most houses are mortgaged. Most houses are mortgaged with minimal down payment these days. So what are you really at risk of? You're at risk of the bank losing their money, which you're already buying them title insurance because they make you, or else you can't get a loan. Your title insurance really only protects your equity. So if you have no equity, because you're financing most of it, what are you putting at risk?
Yeah.
10, 15%? That's a lot of money, but it's just like really rare.
Yeah. All right. I'm glad Jay brought up a blackjack reference there. It's going to lead great into our last segment. So we're going to cut to a couple ad sponsors, and we'll be back on Talk Radio 1080 Real News, Real Talk. Welcome back to the Jay Pitts Show. I'm your co-host Ryan Harris, Talk Radio, 1080 Real News, Real Talk. You know, Jay, I'm not sure if everybody says the full radio show name every time, but I'm getting pretty good at doing it.
It's like riding a bike, babe.
Yeah.
It's like riding a bike. I was watching the blooper reel before we came over here from 2018, and you just realize how much you progress over time. Like some of those, like flubs from like 5 years ago, man.
Well, that's when
It was
people...
rough.
Not everybody was doing video, right? It was like the YouTube stars, and that's basically it.
Well, short.
It was not Vine. Maybe Vine was still around. I don't really know.
I don't think Vine was.
TikTok was starting, kind of.
Probably didn't even really have. I mean, TikTok. I remember like 2019. I remember you showed me TikTok in 2019.
We were at the old office.
We were at the old office. This was at the old office in 2018,
which is 4 years ago.
I mean, it was, but like TikTok, I feel like is a thing in the United States mainly because of COVID, right? Like people got stuck at home, and it was a good thing to pass your time. It was new. Short form video became really big. Instagram had to go heavy into reels to keep up. So like that's a thing. But like you just get better. You get better over time. Like it's this stuff was so cringy, but fun to review.
All right. I have a new show idea, Jay.
Okay.
It's going to be a competition over the next 20 weeks. So NFL's starting. Sports gambling is, starting very soon next month.
Almost legal in Kentucky.
Yep, almost.
Well, it's legal, but it's almost begun.
FanDuel recognizes Kentucky your location now. You still can't do anything, but you can see they're getting ready for it.
You don't have to hit the Easton Bridge to place a bet.
Other shows do this, other podcasts. We should every Thursday for the next week coming up, or maybe we'll see. Maybe it could be the week. It'd probably have to be the next week, but we should both get to pick one over-under game we like and one cover game. And we'll keep our record throughout the year, and we should do a punishment at the end.
NFL only.
NFL only.
NFL only. One over-under.
You can pick your game and which one you want to do, and then a cover.
And then a cover. Okay. And then what kind of punishment? See, that depends.
We'll have to... we can think of it right now, or we can think of it and talk about it on the next show.
I'm not getting a tattoo.
I think we'll have to do our first picks next week. Oh, I'm not...
We're not doing
a tattoo. I'm not doing that.
We're not doing any of these goofy no. crazy fantasy football punishments.
Yeah, we'll think of something.
Okay, all right.
Don't know what it is
down.
yet.
I'm down. I'm not playing fantasy football this year. I can put this energy in.
I think it would be a good thing to do. It's only two choices. I'll probably bet them anyways. So
that's all right.
And we'll keep it throughout the year and update everybody.
Yeah.
I was thinking there's another segment we could do on here where we choose like the best chips of all time, and we do a draft where if I take something, you can't take the next one. We do 3, and we put a poll out on your Instagram story and see who wins each week without people knowing who's choosing what.
The best chips?
Well, it could be something like that, like anything.
Like potato chips?
Sure, the best chips
so
out
the
there.
best anything.
Yeah.
So we could have all right. So you pick one, I pick a category. You pick one, I pick one, and then we poll to see who agrees with who. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm down with that too.
So that's another one we could do, but we'll definitely do the NFL one. We'll talk about that one a little bit more.
All right.
All right. So I was thinking this past week, just talking with some buddies, and we were talking about my buddies I went to college with and played golf with, and reminiscing on what it felt like your last tournament in college. Baseball's the same way with golf, where your last sporting event is after school already ended your senior year.
Yeah.
So you're done with school and you're just playing sports, and then that ends and it's like
it's over.
You're done. Sports are done, and it's this crazy feeling. So I wanted to ask you what the transition was like from you and the feelings you had from being done with playing sports your entire life, going to school your entire life, and it's just over.
Everything's all done at once.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a fun time. Obviously, I mean, I think I went to Florida. Me and a couple buddies spent a week, and was just like, "Hey, we'll think about this when we get back." That kind of thing. I had an interesting story of how I ended my career. So I had a really, really good senior season. I had a good freshman, struggled as a sophomore and junior. Head wasn't really in it. Rededicated myself as a senior. Was like, all right, I'm gonna go out the right way. Mm-hmm. So I knew I probably wasn't gonna play pro ball. I might have gotten an opportunity randomly in the independent league, but
that life's not fun though.
It wouldn't have been fun, and I wouldn't have loved it. So I was not interested in that. Jen and I were were very serious, wanted to start a life together pretty soon after college, was really itching to get to work, and start making money being an adult. And so the last week of the season, we used to play conference games on Wednesdays and weekends, right? So I played a doubleheader at NKU. We actually played at Midland Insurance, which is funny because my brother played for the Midland Redskins later on, and that was their home facility. So I'm up there, and I've got to play at the plate. I was a catcher. I took a throw from right field, and you know how the index finger on your glove hand can sit outside the glove.
Yeah.
So I got spiked. Kid slid into my hand as I'm making the tag, got him out, held onto the ball. Everything was good, but he spiked me and cut across. You can even see, I've got a scar across my knuckle on my index finger, and I had 9 stitches across that. That was the last week of college.
Nice.
Okay, so I come home and I, go to the hand center down here at Jewish, and they, fix me up, but I'm in a splint, and I've got my last 4 college baseball games 3 days later, 3 days later I start my 2 and the doubleheader 2 days in a row. So I couldn't catch because I literally could not squeeze my hand, but I could hold a bat because a lot of people don't realize you don't use your index finger to hold the bat. Same way with the golf club. So I was like, tape it up. I'm DHing.
Tape it to the bat like bench warmers.
Something, man. I literally was in a stance with my index finger just sticking straight out. And at that time I was hitting about 340. I was having a good year. Yeah. And I swung the bat pretty well that weekend, but I didn't get a single hit. I went 0 for 16 my last 4 baseball games of my career. Oof. And my batting average dropped 40 points, and I ended up hitting 297, and I ended up making second team all-conference.
Probably because of that there.
I absolutely would have made first team all-conference had I not dropped 40 points in the last weekend. But, it's a story.
Well, you had the option of probably not playing too if you wanted to.
But that wasn't me.
Right.
That wasn't me. So I played. To answer your question, it was a little rough, just everything being done at once. But I did what I usually do, which is I found what the next thing was, and I went headlong into it, and probably didn't come up for air soon enough. And I've told stories about getting too serious about work and being, obsessed, for a few years. And I really just didn't pay any attention to the game at all for probably 10 years.
Yeah.
And, then my son, and he started getting interested. And so now I'm back in it. I'll be coaching this weekend.
Yeah. Well, cool.
So,
mine ended very interestingly. So golf, the national championship, senior year, it's broken up. College basketball, you have your 4 regions in March Madness. It's how golf's broken up. So you're technically in the tournament, and then certain teams out of those regions make it through. So I'm leading after 2 days, shoot like 67, 69, something like that. And I was a good college golfer. I played every tournament freshman through senior year except for one. But I'd got second before, third, but, I wasn't the guy who won. I was just there on the team, counting our scores, helping us out as much as I can. In college golf, you play 5, count 4 scores every time. So I'm leading by 2 going in the last day. And our team's kind of right on the line. They play bad, and I play bad. And, I'm kind of thankful I played bad that last day because I was kind of feeling myself. I was like, maybe I'll try to play pro after this. And then, I showed up, and I ended up missing individually the national championship finals by a shot or 2. And I'm like, looking back, it's probably good I did that.
Well, the funny thing is you and I had already talked. Of course, we knew each other, right?
Yeah.
Didn't know each other well, but we had met and talked about you going to work in real estate when you were done. And, I remember the same thing. You were a good golfer, but nobody's expecting you to go out and win a national title, right? And then it was like, oh, man, Ryan's leading.
Yeah.
Like everybody around the office
clearly couldn't handle it.
Everybody's talking about Ryan might win a national title here. He might make a run.
So I'll tell you that last day, there was, a measly little dark cloud that called in everybody for like an hour for lightning. And I was just like, man, I hope this gets rained out and we end right where we are.
It's like, is that like you could feel
and
it?
That's definitely not what you want to be thinking 3 holes into your last day.
Like it's slipping away just a little bit. You're feeling it. You're
Yeah.
like, oh God, they're on me.
Yeah,
Anyway.
definitely not what you want to be thinking. But,
Dude, that's
all right. Let's end real quick with this. What's something life changing you can buy for under $200? I had 100. I'm going to bump it up to 200. Something life changing you can buy for under $200.
that's really interesting.
I have 2.
I will say, I'm going to preface this by saying I have this, and if it went bad or I lost it, I would immediately replace it. I'm gonna say AirPods. Like AirPod Pros, aren't they $200? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they're right at $200. So
Close enough.
Since we get into podcasts and we're consuming content, and I'm working and I'm talking and I'm moving and I'm doing all these things, like I don't know that it's life changing. I mean, maybe you could take that loosely. You're gonna go like probably real high minded on me here. And make me look like a chump.
Well, I had a little bit more time to
make
think
me look
about
like
it.
a chump. But AirPods is where I go because it definitely changed the way I perform my daily activities.
It's so weird to think about walking outside and having your phone up to your ear instead of just AirPods and hands free.
I know.
Yeah, we're spoiled.
Yeah,
But,
for sure.
Yeah, AirPods. That's a good answer. Since I had more time to think about it, yeah, gym membership.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
For sure.
$10 a month. I guess it's not technically $200 if you keep doing it, but that's one. And then I'm going to go a personal preference, Bitcoin.
I'm not going to go with Bitcoin. I'm not there with you, but I can understand.
Not financial advice.
That is this is not financial advice. This is not a financial show. We do not have series whatever that is required to give financial advice. No, I think those are good answers and pretty typical. All right. That's all we got for you today, folks, for this week. It is Labor Day weekend, so we do want to wish you guys a healthy and safe Labor Day with your family. Keep all those in mind that, make this country move. We appreciate you. We appreciate you tuning in, and we will be back next week on the Jay Pitts Show on Talk Radio 1080. See you next time.
Peace.